or you can have a dark interior. So there you are, you can have the shutters like this. I just went like that, and they look good. Or you can have a dark one, and you're going to have shutters. Is that the white one? No. Anyway, I'm just doing it to help myself. Just you test, you test, you test. You never stop testing. This is from Etching, this paper. Very good. I was going to get cross. I couldn't get by you to do it. I've done it. Oh dear, you English. Just got like that. So now I've got the shutters lighter and the view inside, and that goes back and that comes forward, so I was right. Good. I don't know if I'm going to put that in. Why not? I'm fed and fill up the back teeth with
Got
it.
this in there for?
Yes, and it goes in like a diver. It doesn't go vertically. Yes, it goes like that. Whee! Otherwise it never gets covered. That's it. Wipe your hands on the right thing, the mobile. Right, Piers Browne. So nice thing going out there in a cold wind. I never thought, I heard other people who often used to say, you don't go outside, it's too cold, honestly. We all did that all the time. Hannah, you does everything. Once she's on evening mode, you can get stuff away there. And then she charges it for that hour or two of playing, you know.
Yeah.
It gets me down a bit. I said to Hannah, you know, I was away for an hour and horse doing something. What did you do? I played with the dogs. And then you feel, God, when she is working, by God, there's nothing to beat her. Very with it. She's been paid so well for so little. I didn't record that. Are you on volume there?
Yeah.
Well, don't hear that. I don't like that. Is there a dog out there? Was it? That was a hawk. I heard it. Oh, oh. I went, oh, oh.
Buzz.
It was the dog doing that.
Right behind you. But
I know. No, it was out through there I heard it. It'd be stuck in the tree. It's just the loads of hawks were. No. I'm a bit self-conscious now. So, can't be anything else. Right. We've got to have a huge amount of blotting paper to push through. People have done every bit of this. Sat in a bloody... Oh. Why should a 70-year-old person? It's the young people, they don't know how to work really. This is blotting. You have to have a lot of it to push through the cups. And I've got to be so careful. I don't do too many.
and why the blotting paper to take the...
To get more pressure, the more
Right.
you have, and then it pushes through. And it doesn't, if I did it without the blankets, I'd have a nice neat thing cut out. Oh, don't fall. I would be mortified. Make an inventory, ready text. Hannah Panna, make an inventory by reading my text on my mobile. That's gone back, that's gone off the board, I don't know what I'm talking about.
And this one,
Wrap,
is this...
wrap these. She needs to. This is a broken piece of glass. She could have ordered the glass. Really, she just completely phases out.
This etching that you're working with at the moment
Yes.
is going to be for
La Route de Violette.
the Rite de Violette, and it's the abbess, is
In
it?
the last revelation, when the. So those are two sketches for it. Did I want the wood round inside? Inside was closed by the shutters, dark, and I decided I did. I wanted it dark, and then you have the shutters, which are a warm colour. I just did them in blue because I didn't have brown. And the abbess and the man's in I can't do his head looking at her, so I just put him and a hand out. And there are lots of cups being handed about. There's a crucifix, which is very good on one but not the other. And the abbess is going to carry a cup of tea, which is better on one but not the other. So I think the one that I might use is the one on the right. All these little tiny sketches, except this bit here isn't any good. You don't want a black squash fly there. In fact, you don't want it there, you want the dark bit as a hand, as our hands going.
And this one here on the plate?
It's the same one, that's the plate. Oh God, this is the, you can see how well wrought the shutters are, quite deeply bitten. If I showed you sideways, you could probably...
Yes.
Well, and this has been polished and polished to get it really shiny, creamy white. There's the deeply bitten. If I go like this, it goes really deep. Look, I can't move it across. That's a jug with the handle. That is the cup. There's a bowl of apples. That's the back of a chair. That is, he's holding a cup. She's holding a teapot. Can't bloody well see where it is. I don't know if it's there. That's the doorway. I haven't got a clue, but it's somewhere about. Well, anyway, it's there. I think that's the spout. I think that is it. And that's anyway. I didn't do the top of it. That's the teapot. They're having a long cup of tea. You can just see her eyes, nose, mouth, and they call them wimples, don't they? They go over, and then. So I've got to drill away. There's a picture, but I've got to drill away with my I've got to drill with flame. That was a crucifixion, but it overbit and went wrong. There's some flowers, which I've got to look at. It's only going to be in two colours, browns and whites. Right, let me please get on. And then you can photograph it. How can I work? I've got one elbow off the side of both. Right, that's the one. Grumpy arsehole. Clean out, there are my notes, there's some notes. As far away from me as possible. Right.
What's for the etching?
So we've got to have warm on the side. Oh no, it's warm on the outside, so the tube of burned umber, I think. The tube of burned umber. Can you imagine these grotty looking tubes? It's a bit like some French food. If you dig up a truffle, it looks as though you wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. But at £200 a small truffle. They're just so delicious and they look disgusting. Here, all these inks look just nothing. They just look so revolting and they're exactly black. I just picked it up. Burnt umber, that's right. No top. Sealed itself. There's dirt there, paper there, recycled, rubbish there which isn't. And this is I've so overworked, I haven't had a holiday since Christmas, and that was curtailed, so it was just 2 days because of something going wrong somewhere. I was feeling so ill with my bad hip, then it was replaced a month later. I had to come home, I was screaming. There we go. So that's brown. It could be a little too much brown.
And what did you add to it?
It's just linseed oil, but it's called hard. There's some sort of oil it's called, but thick oil and thin oil. This is thick oil. Well, I really yawned today. This is the inside, it's gone hard. That's one of Hannah's job, you just spray it every day. But afraid I've lost out on that. Anything that's on the slab has to get sprayed. So I've lost those inks. If I ask her, she'll do it. You know, if I ask her, she'll do it very happily.
That's why the etching wouldn't always be exactly the same, because it's all hand mixed.
Yeah, all that. No, nothing's the same print to print. Sometimes they differ such a lot. I call one an artist proof if it's worth not chucking away in the dustbin. You can't do many. The legal limit is 1 in 10 of the prints you do. And it can be an artist proof, must be called an artist proof. And if you break that rule, your reputation for life is forfeit. You know, you're known as a cheat. And edition of 10, you print 100 artist proofs. It's very bad. You can do an edition of 10 and do an edition of 100 if you put them in Roman numerals, apparently.
Okay.
But that's a cheat. I think that's a treat as well.
But basically you're saying that if you do an edition, and
That's
you can
it.
do per edition, per 10 of the edition, you can do one artist proof.
If it's an edition of 100, you're allowed to do 10 if you must.
Right, so you
People
could
don't really like printing 10 more when they've done 100. They're more valuable the less you do. Look at this, all my inks just dried off. This was the assistant job. And I can't blame her, because if you tell someone something and they don't write it down, then you've had it every day. They could be sprayed. Every day she opens here and walks by my colours. And that's the way it is.
The colours look fantastic though, so iridescent. Just at the back where you've pushed it, you can see all the many different colours.
Yes. Good. I want it to be easy to read by the public. And if you have a think, the only one where I used about 15 colours on a very small plate, this size sort of thing, was that Renoir in Renoir's garden, which is in the south of France. Cagnes-sur-Mer. And Cannes up the road didn't like that. They called it Cagnes, C-A-G-N-E-S. And sur-Mer, a lot like you get sea view in the Isle of Wight, and you can have ride nearby, and you can call one ride on sea or something. Right. So now I need a black. That's a blue. Really good colours in here, you know. I should put the tops on, I sometimes fail. No, that red's still going. Red is the colour that never dries, really. Now I need black. Well, I don't know. Could be. I've just been chucking it away. There it is. It's from Paris, France. No, it isn't. This is their mix of shop black from a firm in London. All the inks are made by one firm. They just put their labels on. There is a black. I'll put quite a bit out. And if you rub that on the plate, it probably wouldn't come out of the cracks or the scratches. But of course, they're etchings out of the out of the bites. We call them out of the bitten plate. I would think there far too many drops went in at the end. You just soak a few off. Get a clean one of these. My assistant does these very well, cuts everything. And it gets a bit of, lubrication.
Okay.
So it's not unlike me in the evening. There we go. I need to stand right there.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just mixed it. And the heat you see is here. Do be careful. When did you get those shoes, Ollie?
I can't remember.
No, but recently?
Yeah, fairly recently.
So we got the warm black. It's very important to do the warm black first. My goodness, just have a look at this. So is that the black I've just done? I get very fussed with all this, you know. I've just used a brown and I can't find the tube. Maybe if I did keep it a bit neater, it would all be alright. With racks, you know, with... Damn this. Damn That's for travelling. I put a well, I've just used it. And it is damn difficult to see. I think that's it. That's one. It's another one. Squeeze it all up to the front. It'll come out with clear pressure. Such a good black, oh such a good, let's see what colour it really is, that's the one. I'll put it there. I ought to put a top on, I know. A drop of. So basically it's all to do with viscosity.
Okay.
Not too viscous, not too viscous. And that one I'll add black to because it goes suddenly from brown. I can't remember on those things what it really looked like. There's hardly any difference in the paper. One's a very warm paper. So the first effort will be to do, I'll keep that handy, to do very brown on the outside, but with a touch of black. So that's all perfectly brown, that perfect brown. I can write on that, but I can remember without. And then I'll add a tiny bit of black, just to, so it's not too violent to change. So you've got, honestly, you've got to hit the road, but my goodness, you'd have had a bit of a rush hour before on that A1. Be quieter at 6. You do the journey twice as quick.
Yeah.
So there you go, there's that, and there's that. Subtle difference, isn't it? In fact, I think that does need a tiny bit more brown. The black is so virulent. Let's see what that black's like now.
Black is very, very black, isn't
Very
it?
black. And if you add brown to a black, it gets blacker for some reason. It gets more strident. Perfect. It's very good. Now, Piers Browne. You do need a bit more of that. It's still a bit runny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably too much. You can solve the problem. Now the inside is going to be basically white and blue, but as you can see the blue has gone. So I'm just get a blue. This is a blue dot. Again, one of my ones that self-sealed itself. Sometimes these tubes, this is from Paris, Charbonnel ink. Look at that, they don't make it in England like that when it's so bright. You just can't believe it. How well, the French are so fussy about, the Parisians more than anything, about the colours. Look at that. No one can make that colour without knowing how to break up lapis lazuli or something as stone. If it was lapis lazuli, it'd be £100 for a tube. But I don't think it is. They've done an equivalent. It's very good. So that can go now. Clean that off. Lots of old socks and then shirts. I don't quite know why I'm doing it there. And then white. That's far too much of that there. Put that there. Get the white. Doesn't matter if it's got a bit of black in it. And that will be fine because it's a cool colour. How on earth we're going to get the inside to have any strength at all, it's going to be a question. I would think I'd better do it with one of these and wipe it out rather than that. But it's very subtle. If I do it a bit, if I'll do it like that, so we got a bit of. So the colours I'm using are 1, which is that black brown.
Mm-hmm.
This one which I'm using is pure blue, which is too much. Again, when you just take a black from the edge, you can just go on too far. And of course her coat, the nun's coat, of course, be bluer still. I think, I don't know, perhaps it's just plain white and then black. in which case we'll do a bit more. So my colours were there. Oh, and there's the black. You're very good to do this. Have you phoned?
Not yet, but it's fine. It's fine. It's
You
fine.
will just tell her because she'll have supper on and everything. Kill the fatty calf for you. I still don't know what she was doing down there. No courses, not a course this time.
No, just visiting friends.
What do they do? What on earth can they do? Take photographs together on the fens or something?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they do?
Well, they're just school friends from Felsted. So it's
Selsted.
Felsted.
Halstead, Essex.
Felsted.
Where's that?
It's Essex, near Dunmow.
Oh, how lovely. Right, well there's the nun's dark, there's the nun's light, there's the nun's, there's the black, and there's the brown. So the brown, basically this is the lot I use. Prop that up on there, get rid of that and there. Sometimes I just use the scraper, right, I need that. So, well, I'm going to do the lot with this brown. No, I'm going to do the blue first. I must make a note. So, you always do the dark first. Oh my gosh, I've gone into the brown there. There's a blue. And that can come there. There's an electric light in there. If you don't have it dark, the head, can't see. Yeah. That's gone into the middle part of the picture, into the room. And I do it in all the cracks, was when I wipe it out with a baby bud, which is what a baby bud's for, of course, that's what they made them, so an etcher can clean out the middle of a deeply bitten area. There you go. Then that goes back, so that's the dark bit, and you wipe it off. It's funny, you wipe ink in and then you polish the surface so that what's inside isn't polished and taken out. That's an that is a, I'm not sure if we need that. I thought of having a bulb, but it's not the winter. Not the winter. It could be me, I just can't see it. Trying to think of coming around the other side would be better. Coming around the other side would be better.
Yeah.
I've still got to go across, but
Yeah.
this is so intense, this work. It's alright, I really won't paint you up, because that would be horrible for you. There we go. Now I can see clearly. You can see nuns and all.
So the darkest colour first.
Well, yes, the darker part of blue, and then I'll just do the rest in the paler. It looks like a wash basin up there. I haven't got a clue what I was doing. I haven't got a clue, I can't remember what that was. They were meant to be 2-frame pictures. It just got so foul bitten. Well, it could be I suppose it could be a sink or something, why not? It looks like that. So, well, there we go. This is the dark in her. I'll just sort this out. She's got a very square face, which is not one to Lisa's mum would have had. A white beard almost. Good old baby bud will ink that up accurately. They're a different shape now. I'm just going into this. It's every single, you know, it's funny how tiring this is, because when you work out how to do it again, it's quite intensive concentration, quite intense. Obviously I've done if I overprint 100, it'd be good. Right, now baby bud again. One baby bud's over there, that goes on the floor, it's trodden through the house. don't know. All the, so, and then I think we'll have a paler one there. Very tricky to know what to do. That's it. I'll do the flowers in the orangey colour. This is more like painting on a plate, you know, Ollie.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's very unique to me. Not it, so every single one is original. You see, with a gigot print, you just take a photograph of what you've done, call it something fancy in French, put a frame around it, and the thing that took £2 to photograph, if that, and £10 to print on handmade paper, photographically, is sold for the same amount of these, big or small, same amount. The public is convinced that they're not, that they're something, that they're in fact, there's no skill involved at all except in the original drawing they've done.
And is there a big problem with that?
Yes, terrible. The public are conned. They're spending hundreds and hundreds, sometimes £1,000 on something that's worth five, which is in a reproduction. You know, you can do a Leonardo da Vinci, the Mona Lisa reproduction, but it's still hardly worth anything. It's just a photograph. And a gigot is really just a photograph. It's just a photograph with a fancy French name. And the public is conned. Oh, I think we're going to buy the gigot.
It's because the gigot would appear to be cheaper and, well,
the gigot would appear to be an original handmade thing.
Yeah.
When it isn't. It's every single stage. It's a photograph. A number to make it look like an etching to boot, so it's a print, an original etching, dry point, engraving, lino print. It's made to look like one of those, which is all done by hand throughout, except when it's a photographic one. But it's, and the French got round it all, but for a country that gave us VAT, I don't think much of them. That was a nasty tax. Value added. It came in at 5%. That was bad enough. So when you're on VAT, you can pay another 20 quid more on a £100 item if they're registered for VAT. And then the people have to then tax it. So you tax the people taking the VAT, take something from them. So absolutely, I mean, you couldn't make a more contrived nastiness if you tried. Jobs for the boys too, with the accountants. You have a VAT person. You get starting to think about money a lot when you're not earning a lot. For all the cost of one of these, sometimes I can do a whole edition and not one sells. So I take the gloves off just to do the pots. Now she looks as though she's got a moustache. That's the way it is. And I'm going round. There's an awful lot to do on this still with the machine, because I've lost the pictures on the wall, and I must remember to make the flowers brown. Brown, brown. Brown, make the flowers brown. There we go. Right the way around. But if you're paying something like £500 for a photograph on the wall, it's an edition of, that means 499 of edition of 500. Others are, oh, they're just printed off in the morning on the machine by pressing a button.
Yeah.
I mean, what a con. What a con. Beware, buyer. And you can say, well, I very much like to have something cheaper than the original print. I can't afford anything else. And that's brilliant. But it's got to be called a reproduction, not a gigot. I've still got to fight through that, you know. I've still got to get that through Parliament. I gave up when the letter came back There's nothing at all wrong with this. God blimey. Probably the Ministry of Art. Ministry of Culture, whatever it is. Well, there's one jug that's beginning to get a bit brighter. How many G-glaze could you do from this etching when it's done? Just photograph it. 100 at the same price as the original. Luckily the auction houses know it, and they know that they're worthless, virtually worthless G-glaze. Bits of paper with a photograph on them that's on fancy paper.
There's got to be provenance, hasn't there?
They must be getting wiser soon. It's the French word, you see.
It cons people.
Goodness me. It's such a shame to see people conned. Would you buy a car that's wheels didn't go round?
Not by choice.
No. And that's equivalent. Just not authentic.
And the copper plate's all hand engraved, isn't it?
Hand bitten. This is deep bite here.
Yeah.
That deep bite there. So that was really carefully bitten for a day and a half, getting up every 2 hours through the night to get any bubbles off if the acid was bubbling up. We're just relying on the auction houses and the art historians to tell the public that they've really got to be careful. Now I think they actually held it out. So there's the teapot. I probably got it in the wrong place. Could be there, couldn't it? Let's put it there. I've done a Horlicks already. I don't know. Very tricky. Quite nice. There's a line there and a line round her neck. This takes off the ink really, not the matchstick. It's a soft Swedish pine, or Norwegian wood as the Beatles would say. It absorbs ink. But there's such a lot here. I've got a sort of light here. Now I've got to do the flowers. Then I do the outside. This is not actually the way I don't think you should get round to printing. I'll do the flowers with a really good brown, pure brown, and they're up there. Then I'll go round them to emphasize. I'm really drawing with the thing. It's very much a monoprint where you do everything by hand. It's so different from the next one.
Yeah.
That there's only one really, but I'll make it an edition. I'll do exactly the same. I've got a good memory. Fairly good memory anyway. Ted asked what I had for breakfast. His arm there. It's all very, for want of a better word, impressionistic. There's the table going round. It's a simple white table. And you have to have the plate hot to print on. I've got a feeling I've left it too late. Yeah, so I'll just light one of these and relight the gas. The ink just doesn't come out if the plate is cold, nor does the ink go when it comes out. Oh good, I've got to be so careful that if it goes backfires. I've seen it happen, not here, but that big canister of gas is flying through the air 200 yards. And the trouble is it may come through this wall here. We've got very dangerous things there.
Give that a miss, I think.
But it's never happened, and it's 1 in a million. It can happen with a car too. Someone sticks a carrot up his exhaust. Right, there you go. So I'm going round the pictures like that. So I don't know. I'm just cleaning it all off now, because that's monastery light. Right, now I put my gloves back on. It's getting nice and warm. Fancy having marigolds that look so clumsy. You'd empty your septic tank with this, or put your hands into a little cow muck and just come off the marigolds, but I like them. I'm just picking up one of these now. I think this is good for the public to see. I think the warm black there.
That was a mixture of the white and
Tiny
black.
bit of black, no white.
Yeah.
Because I want it. I have painted shutters till I'm blue in the face. And there's the other side. The paper mustn't be too wet, that's what I was trying. Oh, I've gone to the wrong one. Couldn't move across.
Sorry,
I'll try it on here. Just couldn't. I think oh no!
This
I
one.
beg your pardon. You can't be blamed. It's just given me an idea though. Why don't I make one side slightly browner? So it's coming through. Yeah. So it's. Oh dearie me. One side's black. So this side is the paler one. The thinner side is the paler one, which is this one. So I'll just make it pure and black. That's the one. And you get a lighter one. Yellows are very good. We've got a bit of yellow on that. It's actually excellent. Wipe it across. And then we're going to put black. We'll put brown for the moment, but we're going to put black on here. This side is definitely black. Have I gone right over the abyss? I don't think I have. There we go. I think you'll be amazed at how it works.
I can't understand how it works, to be honest.
No?
It's
Well, it's clever biting of the plate, and then it's clever inking, but that's all. It's not that difficult.
It just seems to bear no resemblance to an etching. It's obviously in reverse.
No. The etch,
No?
it's the most very etched. It's got deep bites. It's got lines in the plate. Now all I'm going to do is take a tiny bit of black, so you get a real contrast of the stonework, which supports
The window frame, top and bottom, yeah?
Well, the stonework is either side of the window frame, so that reminds me, you've given me a good idea. You could go on and add more colours. You would have the window frame much paler brown. And then you use paper again, just to bring it out. It's very easy when you've looked at etchings all your life. I suppose to date this must be my, I don't know, 5,000th easily, or 6,000. Never counted.
Well, yeah.
But the printing is taking what's long. You know, if you had an edition for 100 of this, you can't make an etching for a long time, so you just stick at 5,000 etchings in your lifetime. Now there you can see it now. You've got the light one side and the dark the other.
Yeah.
Lovely brown. All out variety. And I have to do one thing. I'll use a matchstick again to put it in the right place softly. I'm going to use brown. What colour am I going to use? I'll use brown just for this chair here. Kiddies, if you watch kiddies doing paintings, they never think about the colour, they put it down. Tree trunks are always brown, and of course they're green sometimes. But basically, you know what you're looking at. And quite a lot of people who don't. I think a lot of children's drawings, the composition's good, sometimes bold. The older you get, the more inhibited you become. Gosh, that's good. Her head's at a funny angle, so I have the light on the side of her nose, top of her head. That's quite good. So it's that side, this is the side that's... It may not work at all, this, you know.
it's basically a trial and error for the first one,
Absolutely.
and then when it
Well,
get it
then
right.
you look at it, you can either re-etch it or you can rework it, you know, put lines in. I've got this tool and I can scratch it into the plate without biting, which saves a lot of time. I have got acid still out in a tray. This is the stonework, so there we go. The dog being rude. I am so bored, says the dog. Let's hope the viewer isn't. That's a sort of shutter. They pull it by a hand, a little blob of wood.
Oh, the wooden shutters.
Well,
Very intricate, very...
well, I know what I'm doing, but it's tiring when you've done 20 of these in the day, and I have to do it.
It's
I wait for a wet day, not a day like today where there's beautiful light.
A lot of concentration, I think. Mentally tiring.
Is that what it is? Mentally tiring. I haven't got a brain, so that's all right. Right, there we go. I just do a little bit of black, which is, I can't remember here. I just want to make inside that wimple where it comes down. So you see that? And then a bit of paper just to polish up the surface, make it white, and put in the black so it stays black. It's all a bit. But I didn't, I changed the image so much. In the end I got a dentist drill to smooth the, you've seen it upstairs, haven't you? Just plopped on the floor. Right, 1, 2, and that can be some sort of light. I don't suppose you would have electric light, but what can you do when you're staring at you as an electric light? And what the heck is that? Better turn that into a cross or something. I can't do it, I've used a foul bit of matchstick. I'm sorry to mumble, but I'm sort of concentrating on one bit. Right, I'm quite trepidatious at this, fearful it won't, nothing will happen. If it really doesn't, I just tighten it all up with actually scratching. Etchings are never scratched, they use the acid, but in this case I'm going to scratch, because if you painted the whole thing for varnish, it wouldn't, it's got to go in 3 directions, it's got to go up the side of the cliff and then flat on the land on either side of the plate. Good God. Right, now I'm cleaning the edges, otherwise it'll look awful.
You get a flat edge, basically, when you put it into...
Whitish edge.
Yeah.
I just got to cut a bit of stuff off, but it doesn't really matter. I cut a bit of the Fablon on the back, seems to have melted in heat. So I'm taking a bit of Fablon off the back.
Fablon's the backing, yeah?
Yeah, I glue one side, plaster the other, go in the acid and it never gets bitten. Protects the back of the plate. Ugh. Doing this at this, there it is. I've egged it up to the edge. Wanted that bit off. Great lump of soft Fablon melting under the heat, I presume. It's 3 by 2, isn't it? Or 2.5 by 3 inch. All that effort. There's as much effort in doing this as there's a big one, which is just in plain black. What you're getting when you do an etching is all this handmade stuff.
You can see so much more detail now, the ink's on it.
Right, so I put that on tissue, It should be warm. I'm just going to melt it a bit. It should be warm. I'll just do that. There you go. Get the paper blotted quick. There's that plate. I'll do it on the... I think I'll do it on the white, because that'll test me. If it's on white, there aren't any lies, you know. You can see the black's better, and the blue black's better, the line's better, and the white could be.
This is the paper that's been soaking.
This is from Paris, Italy, this paper.
It's the paper that's been soaking in the bath.
Yes, to soften it. And it's weird that, you know, you would think oil sitting on paper wouldn't sit, but it wouldn't go in unless it was soft. It wouldn't go into the lines. It wouldn't be soft enough to go in. I put a bit of scum on the back there, a bit of ink. There. Perfect. Just a few thumb marks on the edge. Right. Put that there. That's the good side. Put this here.
And here comes the plate, which is now warm.
Now warm.
And it's on tissue paper.
Yeah. Just going to put a bit of yellow up there. Trouble is, the other day I asked my assistant to remove the yellow, and there ain't none left. Oh, here's a bit. I can mix this. This is the best oil paint, I think, in my humble opinion, you can buy in England, by Michael Harding. And it's just so different from other oil paints. So I'll add that to the brown, just to get a tiny bit more colour in the flowers like that. Then again, paper. In this case I'll use tissue. God, no wonder you need endless cups of tea to give this. Tea with honey. Maybe a little too bright, but it's a sort of saffrony colour. Sunflower.
And that goes onto the tissue paper in the middle, and then the
tissue paper's on the back. The plate is on the tissue paper. You're pretty on the paper. You don't need tissue paper anywhere.
Yeah.
And then you put loads and loads of this on, so that we get the emboss of the thing. If I put too much on, I'd do this. If this was a plate 4 foot square, and there are presses that can print it, I'll do. That's just a bit over the top.
And the cloth over.
Normally my assistant would hold. Yeah, this is just like 50 sheets of blotto.
Okay.
You know, simple as that. So that's all taken into consideration. And I have to go reasonably quick. This roller goes the other way to which you think it should be turned. Let it go. It'll stop suddenly when it hits it. I don't want any creasing there. It is. You heard it hit.
Yeah.
I oil it jolly well. I don't know any other press. It doesn't flow smoothly. Oh, I know why. I printed on and I didn't put any pressure back on. That was a right thing. I think I didn't check the pressure before I printed. Consequently, that could have been much more. And I think I failed. Maybe not. Now, if you come here, I take the blotto off. I take the blotto off like that. It has embossed, you can see it. You see the milk jug?
Yeah.
Now there you go. Now what you've got is you've got the abbess there holding a cup of tea, which I'll the jugs. You've got the window, which I haven't printed very well. And you've got the looking through. This shape will go off with my drill. The flowers are there. And there, so if I get, I'll show you what you can do. When you do the first one, it never prints very well. So I'm going to simply push the ink, make it just work. You push the ink into the cracks like that, and it didn't print at the bottom. I thought I'd etched it, but rather nice it hasn't. And that should be a bit darker. There's some very funny things happening, I must remember that. I don't really want that like that, so we do that. Stonework, woodwork. I don't mind the edge being whiter.
And unless you decide...
I'm just putting ink on, pressing ink.
Yeah.
So moving it about really is an original one. I've never done such an original print. I don't quite know what all that is. It's not her hand, so we'll just get rid of that. You can see her coming through now.
Yeah.
This is dark and that's the light. It's beginning to work. It'll take a bit of time. I shouldn't say it, but I may use pen and ink just on parts. Look at here, that was just little grains of, well, dust or something. They really kicked in. You must be careful of that. If I put it like that under the light, I'll move and you stay where you are. You can see how, sorry I'm so slow, there's some canine friends in the way. So if I go there, you can't, yes you can see how the white's coming out now.
Yeah.
The jug and the thing.
Yeah.
This shape here wasn't meant to happen, so I'm just going to go and get rid of that diving duck. And then I'll rework those things there. I don't know what the heck this black thing is there, so I'll remove that. So that's an AP.
Okay.
And it's still not quite right, but it gives some idea of something happening. It's what I call a very impressionistic effort, that. My goodness. And I can call that state 1.
Okay.
Proof. The flowers are too yellow, but never mind.
And how many would you
when
do?
I've got it right, I'm going to do 10.
Right.
I can't say it sort of selling. But the old masters, 1600 onwards, when they were etching, 1600, 1550 onwards, they would chuck that away. But we can't afford to. If it's good enough to sell, that's what we'll do. Okay.
Oh. I love the copper. I really do. It's fantastic.